The KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS.
Nothing says Happy Friday quite like a little bit of uncontrollable urge from Devo. Thank you, Ryder. Thank you. It feels like I just got a sneeze I've been waiting weeks to let loose. Whoo, baby.
Glad to be of service.
Oh, man, I'm glad to have been serviced. Let's move on, shall we?
Right. Yeah.
It's time for the top 5 at 6 for a Friday morning. Tough news still continuing from Los Angeles. If you have not been watching the news, you're probably taking better care of your mental health than I am. But the fires in LA continue to rage on, for the most part, unabated. Still trying to get any bit of containment on some of the biggest ones. And now police are saying one of the fires, which is known as the Kenneth Fire, was in fact intentionally set. Arson, and they have arrested a man they believe is responsible for this. The fires had already started, and then someone said, hey, I got a great idea. I'll go start another one somewhere else. Boy, there's a special room in hell for that guy.
Yeah, this is one of the officers talking about it.
What we know right now is that the incident started here, and about 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens. It's being investigated as a crime.
Oh, man, the citizens got a hold of him first. Luckily, he wasn't, kind of like the Night Stalker, where they tried to beat him to death. When they got him on the streets.
I'm not trying to be funny. How in the world, if you can't start a fire in an area this large without being caught, you're in the wrong racket.
Yeah.
I mean, how in the world? You would think it would be a little easier. Henry Winkler, the nicest man in Hollywood going on 50 years, tweeted, there is an arsonist here in L.A. May he be beaten unrecognizable.
Yeah.
When the Fonz turns on you, you deserve every bit of that. Beaten unrecognizable is the least of what I would hope it happens to somebody responsible for one of those fires. As the world turns and continues to spiral out of control, number 4 in your top 5 at 9, you got fires on the West Coast. You got a lack of snow right here. The Lake Minnetonka Klondike Dog Derby has been canceled due to lack of snow. Given current conditions and long-term weather forecasts, the board has decided, in the interest of mushers who plan to race this year, we're going to have to go ahead and cancel. That's a bummer. But personally, it's a bummer because this is one of the events Rosemary and I had circled. We were like, oh, my God, I've never been to one of these. We were very excited to head out to Excelsior to watch this race. Cold temperatures are here, but, the lack of snow. Second winter in a row, we're looking around going, what the hell's going on here?
Yeah, take some time off, dogs. The 44 people that were going to attend are disappointed. Very disappointed.
Well, as it would have been 46 this year because, like I said, we were gonna go. Make no mistake about it. The race is canceled. However, the cutest puppy contest, as well as live music, will go on as scheduled.
All right.
I wonder if I hope there's not a connection between those two events. Let's see. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9, there's a new study out in the Economic Journal that speaks about situations throughout.
I haven't got to my issue yet. Now, spoiler alert, but fill me in.
Apparently, and this is not just an American phenomenon, but throughout various Western civilizations and societies, men are struggling, less than thrilled, entering issues with serious mental health concerns what happens, Zepp, when their wife makes more than they do.
Please give me a wife that makes more than me. That would get me back down the aisle again, I think. Just a woman. I have been looking for a sugar mama. If you're listening out there, I'm decent around the house. I listen. I pretend to listen with the best of them. I will. Yeah, I'm whatever you need, baby. You got it. I don't know who the hell is pissing and moaning about this.
Yeah, total BS on this story. Like most of my friends, their wives do make more money than them, and they love it.
Trust me. I'm the guy who said when we had children, it's too bad men can't breastfeed. I could sit here all day and watch sports and be happy. I have the idea that I'm supposed to make more than my wife. I would finally pull off the long-threatened freestyle backflip if Rosemary was suddenly like, hey, you know what? I'm going to start making more than you for the rest of our life. I'd be like, let's go.
I assume that's why men invented baby formula, just, to displace the woman. But we couldn't even get that done right.
There is really, and by the way, this is when I see studies like this is when I go, yeah, we're men. We're ridiculous. We are ridiculous. Of all the things that are going to give you mental health, not your boss, not the stress of trying to raise kids who aren't sociopaths. Your wife's making more money than you. Good Lord. Take a deep breath. What do they say? Touch grass? Now go smoke some grass. Figure this out. Yeah. And by the way, like I said, this is not simply American. This is going on in an awful lot of places. And oddly enough, the guys that did this study were really surprised that it's a very big issue in Sweden. And Sweden is a country that prides itself on gender parity and a lot of the established assumed roles. They're like, no, that's ridiculous. People are people. Everybody can do what they want. And it's Swedish men who are really struggling. I think I don't know. If I were a Swedish man and I don't even know where I'm going with that. I could never be a Swedish man. I've been there and I can't understand a damn word anyone says.
I don't know. Have you seen their volleyball team? I feel like they're kind of lucky fellas, but
well, everywhere you go, every woman is 6 feet tall. I'm not sweating a thing over there. I'd assume they're going to make more money than me. My God.
Yeah.
On the opposite side of the fence, here's number 2 on your top 5 at 9. Here's a completely bizarre story from Yorkshire in England. In a little town called Bassop. I don't know how you pronounce it. It's a weird set. There's so many towns in England that make no sense to me, the names. West Yorkshire, there's a place called Woody's Pizza. They're trying to open up a new location. The town council has voted it down. The town council said, no, we are not going to allow a pizza place in this part of town. Why? Because the children are too fat. That's what they said. Our children are all too fat.
Wow.
There's too much obesity, and we don't believe this. Now, had been an ice cream and dessert shop on the same road. That had been refused. Somebody was trying to open one, I should say. That was turned down. The pizza guys came in, and they said, no, we use local ingredients, not a lot of salt, very little sugar. And the town council's like, no, I'm sorry, we're not doing that. You want to open a boxing gym? Let's go. But a pizza place? Not a chance. Think about that. I mean, a town is literally turning down a business opportunity for an independently owned pizza place saying, no, look around. We got nothing but Chubbs. Can't do it.
Yeah. I mean, we've gone all in here in America. We're doubling down. You won't find a rice cake in Hennepin County, that's for sure.
Do you remember when Bloomberg was the mayor of New York City and he did that whole thing about we are no longer allowing you to serve big gulp soft drinks like
that's right,
movie theaters. You can only get 12 ounces of Coca-Cola at a time, and it was like everybody immediately stopped and went, okay, screw the issues with the homeless. What are you doing to my Coke, man? I mean, boy, you want to poke the bear, take away people's soft drinks. But hey, interesting to see this from a place in England. We'll update you on it. I just think it's mind-boggling that they actually, good for the city council to come and not create some nonsense answer, some BS answer. They just came right out. No, look at that child over there. He's fat. No more pizza. Come on. Well, in my day, nobody was fat. Yeah, in your day, you were on post-World War II rations, dude.
Yeah, right.
Everybody was living on 400 calories a day. Relax over there. All right.
Famine.
Let me just say this right now. Somebody is probably yet to relax this year, and they are up in Nothin, Minnesota. Good morning, Nothin. Nothin, Minnesota. Just straight, pretty much due north, maybe a little over to the side. Two people won $1 million on a New Year's Day raffle in the state of Minnesota, and one of them was in Nothin. So if you bought that ticket at Bill's Superette in Nothin, give us a call. Give me your bank info. Let me throw a little something. We're here for you now. Then I think between Zepp and Ryder and I, we would be happy with any amount you want to donate.
Sure. Yeah, you get a real big now. That'd be the now then out of that one. Yeah. And if there's a now then Minnesota, how is there not a no Minnesota? Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I just heard that. Yeah, no.
Soon to be incorporating, yeah.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. Yeah, right.
Yeah, no.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 6. 1 in 3 people in a recent workplace poll said perfectly acceptable to use profanity in the workplace.
Fargo, North Dakota.
And you know what? It's funny because I completely believe it's perfectly acceptable, and I have one of the few jobs where I really can't do much of it. It's kind of a bummer because you should hear us around here when we're off air. It just sounds like three old salt sailors just going through the motions.
And occasionally on the air. That's why we have a dump
true.
button. Yeah, and that's not in the bathroom. That's right there in Studio A. Yeah.
I'm staring at it right now. I'm just waiting for one of you to make me use it.
I just want to Fargo, North Dakota. No,
everything about profanity. It's all about context, how you use it. If you're calling people names, yeah, sure, that's the whole thing. But if you're just describing something the manager just left the office, hey guys, let's chop. It's not 5 o'clock quite yet, and he leaves, and you can look at a coworker and go, "What up? That's fine. You're just having fun.
Yeah.
You're just ragging on the boss." I mean. I've long since let go of the old thing. My mom used to say, "Honey, if you use a curse word, it means you're not smart enough to come up with a better word." And one day I finally went, "No, that's not true at all. Actually, no. There's no better word in this situation than And it's like, no, I feel better having said it. That's it. End of story.
I don't give a Shania Twain.
That's right.
That's my new one. Sorry.
Okay.
Ryder's just got
You had me on that one.
Did I?
Yeah.
All right. I'm going to get you for the end of the show.
Oh, boy.
I speaking of profanity here on the air, I did have a thing last year. I did really enjoy. We had a conversation about this on air, and I was bragging. And it was true. I said, I've been doing radio for over 10 years. I've never once slipped up. It's never happened. And I said, that's amazing. And everybody was like, oh, it'll happen eventually. I said, no. I mean, I think once you go 10 years, it's never. I would say it was probably within 3 weeks of me saying that. I completely committed and went full in.
Yeah.
MFC sucker. Right on the. And as it came out of my mouth, I was like, what just happened? I've never had more of a. Oh, no. Moment in my entire life. Absolutely brutal. But, these things happen. Anyway, if you're not working on the radio, just go have fun. Cuss away. Let it loose. We're gonna allow it. That's your top 5 for 6 on a Friday morning. The weekend is upon us. We have got a rough situation. I mean, you take your dog to the vet, you expect them to come home happy and in one piece. You don't expect there to be extra pieces. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. And yes, I and Brian Zepp were air drumming to that one.
Yeah. You got it, right? Except one of us was keeping time, and I wasn't.
I look down, and I'm like, I'm just doing this. And then I look up, and I'm like, and so is Zepp, so it's okay. All right, as long as we're all in the same boat. Hey, it's Friday morning. Oh, man, this is a rough one right here. We all love our furry friends. A woman in Rhode Island is suing a veterinarian. Her St. Bernard, Princess Freckles. Let's just pause for a moment there. Princess Freckles died in May of 2024. Oh. Some gastrointestinal issues. And this was about 2 years after Princess Freckles had a surgical procedure. The dog was losing my word. They gave her they spayed the dog in 2022 when she was still like less than a year old, as they do. And then there was a surgical procedure. Go in there, spay the dog, make sure she can't reproduce. It's a good thing. And then shortly after that surgery, the dog sort of started having an upset tum. And then for another couple of years, just always seemed to have problems, eating a lot of grass. It just grew and grew, her problems. Finally, the family realized this dog started to begin, it was projectile vomiting. It was really rough. They rushed her into a vet. The vet did an x-ray and said, did your dog swallow some scissors at the house maybe?
Oh,
and the owner was like, swallow scissors? No, that's not possible. They opened the dog up. There were a pair of surgical scissors in the dog's stomach. There were also gauze, hemostats and gauze twisted up in the intestines. So 2 years earlier, when the dog was spayed, the veterinarian that did that procedure left a pair of surgical scissors and a bunch of gauze inside the abdomen.
I mean, I take out the 9/16 wrench from Dad's toolbox and forget to put it back. He opens up a toolbox, and there's like 100 tools in there, and he goes, where's my 9/16 wrench?
Yes.
He wants to know, and everything on the farm would stop
Yeah.
until you found that damn 9/16" wrench. And here we have a doctor going, where did I put those? I see my scissors and the... you don't go back and follow up on that. You just hope it's going to turn out all right. You left some scissors and gauze in a dog's gut. By the way, this is Kristen, dog owner, talking about it.
We all were looking at the x-ray. Like, it's not even possible that there are scissors in my dog's stomach. But by that point, she was so sick that if they had done the emergency surgery, she probably wasn't going to make it. So we had to rush the kids, out of school. They had to say goodbye. I was not expecting to put her down. I was expecting overnight stay with fluids, maybe antibiotics. Never in my wildest dreams did I think I was coming home without my dog.
The hemostats, that's what you call those type of scissors, and the gauze. The doctor said actually it wasn't the hemostats, it was the gauze that had become infected and caused sepsis ultimately that led to this dog's death. To your point, Zepp, veterinarians in a lot of states, they don't have to do an instrument count after a surgical procedure.
All right.
Like in a hospital for people, it's like how many scalpels are in the room before you start? And then after the procedure, how many scalpels do we have? They do that. They make sure they don't leave anything behind. Apparently, that's not how veterinarians roll. The veterinarian in question who's being sued, who performed this procedure and left those scissors inside Princess Freckles, has had a lengthy career, never had any incident like this. Boy, bad. It's more probably bad luck and a quick oversight. But all I'm saying is, when you said, if you pull a wrench out of your dad's thing and don't turn it back in, I thought you were going to say, I would take a wrench and I'd go to the vet and give them a piece of my mind. I thought that's where that was going.
Oh, well,
because
my dog.
Yeah, I tell you what, man, that'd be a real tough pill to swallow, a tough pair of hemostats to swallow for sure on that one. So for Princess Freckles, listen, we hardly knew you, but I'm sure you brought a lot of love to that family while you were with us. Ooh, baby. Makes me really think twice about the number of times I've had Chauncey at as I've mentioned several times, Chauncey Gorman, just a medical miracle in terms of how much money we've provided to the veterinarian services of both Tennessee now and Minnesota in his 8 years on this planet. Man alive. And despite that, I don't even know. I couldn't even begin to get my head around this if something like that happened to him. So, sorry, Princess Freckles. You were a good girl. Let's look back. On this day in 1980, Jim Stewart, a goaltender with the Boston Bruins, got his first ever NHL appearance. Started the game. Never played a game. Never played 1 minute in the National Hockey League. He gave up 3 goals in the first 4 minutes of the game.
Whoops.
A total of 5 goals in the first period. He was replaced and never played another minute in the NHL again.
Oh, come on, man.
Jim Stewart did go on to coach, was a goaltender coach at the UMass hockey team, the University of Massachusetts. And then, of course, the internet came along, and then his players Googled him and went, this guy's our coach? What the hell? I think of him as the, he's like the guy from Field of Dreams. He's the Moonlight Graham of hockey.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
He is.
He left the game, became a small-town doctor, and many years later saved a little girl from choking on a hot dog at another Bruins game. I don't know who you are, Jim Stewart, but God love you. What an effort. On this day in 1982, it wasn't quite the Ice Bowl, but we did have the Freezer Bowl. Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Chargers in the AFC Championship game. It was 9 degrees below zero with 35-mile-per-hour winds. The wind chill, 59 below for the game. The Bengals beat the San Diego Chargers in that game 27-7. It's amazing the Chargers even got 7 points because 1 week earlier, they beat the Dolphins in overtime in Miami where it was 80 degrees.
I remember that was the game they had to carry Kellen Winslow off the field. He had, I don't know how many catches, 15 catches or something like that.
One of the great games ever, and dehydrated, and his whole body was seizing up and cramping. So they went from an 80-degree kickoff to a 59-below-degree kickoff in 1 week.
I'm old school. I think that's where football should be played. Outside, playoff football in the cold, unless it's the Vikings and I go to a game. And then I'm like, isn't this U.S. Bank Stadium wonderful? Isn't this awesome? Can we get some sushi here?
Bengals coach at the time, Forrest Gregg, also played in the Ice Bowl for the Packers from back in the late 60s. After the game, he was asked, what about that crowd, though? They hung in there. and he said the fact that stadium was full through the entire game speaks to the failure of our educational system.
Awesome.
It's fantastic.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
Listen to the Foreigner, a little hot-blooded. Even as a kid, I was like, you don't have to read my mind to know what I have in mind. Okay,
Well,
all right. I mean, hey, it works.
It's no Love Gun by Kiss, but it gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, they had a hot track, and the producer's like, guys, just say anything. Let's go. The melody's great. The lyric doesn't matter. And 12-year-old Steve Gorman in Kentucky is like, hang on a minute. That's kind of a redundancy, isn't it? I mean, what's the matter with that? I was taking my poetry classes, my creative writing classes a little too seriously in middle school. Watching other guys put that record on and get laid, I'm like, wait, hang on a minute. Let's break down the sentence structure. Everyone's like, why'd you drop out of school and buy a drum kit and join a band? Trust me when I say I had a lot to make up for.
Yeah.
My middle school and high school years were hardly heroic. Let's just leave it there. Boy, speaking of hardly heroic. Okay, now we all know, like every generation looks at the one following them and goes, oh, these kids are stupid. We were way smarter. But now it's even weirder than that because now for several generations, kids have grown up with all the information they could ever want at their fingertips, and they continue to get dumber. So it's even more so. It's like we're pouring gas on that old generational quagmire. You know what I mean? Like when you can look at a kid and say, dude, all the answers are in your phone. Use that. And then they just look at Instagram cat videos. You're just like, oh, my God, what are we going to do? But some people are finally just recognizing, you know what? We can't just point our fingers at our younger kids. We can't just make fun of them. We have to help them. It's up to us to help them. Nottingham College in England is one of those groups of people looking to help out the younger generation. They are now offering a class, this is true, on how to make a phone call.
Why?
Okay.
I mean, I can't get my kids to make a phone call.
How to make a phone call. Now, this is not necessarily how to punch numbers, but simply... But more importantly, how to what phone etiquette and phone confidence and how to get things accomplished on the phone. Homework includes calling stores to ask if they have something in stock.
Oh, yeah. Kind of like the Jerky Boys used to do.
Thank you. How does this not turn into just college credit for prank calls? What in the world?
I mean...
I'm blown away by the fact that somebody's being graded on calling a store and going, yes, hello, have you got any frozen fish and chips? And then they say, why, yes, of course we do. Okay. And then they panic and hang up. He said yes. He said yes, they do. What do I do now? He said yes. First of all, hit the mute button before you ask me for advice. Yes, and now you calmly say thank you. I'll be in soon for a purchase. Come in and buy some soon. I'm just picturing this. This is not like we're not teaching these kids how to replace light bulbs on top of radio towers.
No.
It's a phone call.
But do they need it? You know how you get fish and chips? You go on their website and you order fish and chips, and it's ready when you get there. You know, it drives me a little nuts when I pull up to the drive-thru. We'll use McDonald's because I go there once a week. Pull up to the drive-thru at McDonald's. Will you be ordering on the app today? No, I'm actually.
here.
Yeah, right. If I was ordering on the app, I would have ordered on the frickin' app. But I get it. People order on the app and then go through the drive-thru. I'm like, is it too much for me to just give you my order while I'm here and then to wheel around and pick it up? Must we add another step? But this reminds me of my buddy Seth. Sorry, Seth. I know you listen. I'm going to throw you under the bus here. Last spring, he calls me up. He's like, hey, Zepp, do you have a stick shift car? I'm like, no, I got rid of the old farm beater about 50 years ago. But no, I don't. Why do you ask, Seth? He goes, I'm teaching my daughter how to drive, and I want to teach her how to drive a stick. And I said, why?
Okay.
Oh, they got
He goes, what? Yeah, because what if she ever has to drive a stick? I said, where? When? How would that happen that she would ever have to? I said, your daughter is on the precipice of not even having to learn how to drive.
Yeah.
You know, in about 10 years, none of us are going to be driving. Forget the sticks, Seth. It's aggravating enough to teach them how to drive an automatic. Don't worry about it. She'll be just fine out there not knowing how to drive a stick shift.
Yeah, I've got a manual transmission car. Check the back seat for the typewriter and the calligraphy kit. These kids in England, they have something they call telephobia. They are really uncomfortable making phone calls. Yeah. And I'll be honest with you, my kids, I don't think my kids are uncomfortable necessarily making a call, but it would never occur to them to do that. Like you said, Zepp, if they want to know, is the restaurant open, you just look online. If you want to know the hours, you look online. My son, for his entire life, and I still have this, I still do, I finally just let it go, but it still bugs me. When he calls me, I slide the phone open, and before I say a word, he goes, hey. And I go, let me answer. Because if you're doing that, he goes, I don't do that to everybody. And I go, yes, you do. I guarantee you do. You don't just interrupt I have to say hello or what's up or hey, bud. I have to say the first words when you call me, and he will literally go, that doesn't make any sense. And I'm just like pulling my hair out every time he calls. Hey.
No, I'm with Connell on this. It's all the performative bull crap around making phone calls. That's what they need to teach in the class. Etiquette. Not the asking for the item at the store, but all of the hello and how are you doing and please and thank you and all that junk. Like that's why we don't want to do it.
Get off my lawn, Ryder. Hey man, I grew up in a house where you answered the phone, hello Gorman's.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
hello Gorman's. In fact, there was a time when my mom encouraged us to say, hello Gorman's, this is Steve. And we were like, even as a little kid, I was like, Mom, that's a bridge too far. That's just not going to happen. Hey, Bloomington, good morning. Happy to have Bloomington, Minnesota with us on the KQ Morning Show because we're just happy people. I mean, that's how we roll with this. Glad to have Bloomington listening, getting ready for a big game Monday night. By the way, the Vikings game has officially been moved to Arizona. That is a wise choice.
Yeah.
I'm sure the NFL knew that was going to happen. They have to act like they're going back and forth. I guess you don't want to look knee-jerk, but good decision. Get more people out of L.A. if at all possible for any reason. If you think it's bad enough that we're teaching kids how to use the phone, don't worry. We're also giving kids a break if they fail their driver's test. Hold tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
I'm Steve Gorman. This is the KQ Morning Show. It's Friday. It is January the 10th. Good morning to you. Uber, the ride-share service. Uber, they're looking out for the people. You know what I mean? They're everybody's buddy, Uber. They have a new promotion. They have a new promotion for teenagers right now. They are offering up to 6 free rides to teenagers.
That's nice.
Assuming that the teenager sends them proof that they failed a driver's test. Rewarding failure as only Uber can do. They say, hey, we'll cover you till you have a chance to retake it. This is pretty funny. You send them proof. Hey, look, I failed this thing. They'll give you up to 6 free rides. Of course, the more cynical side of my brain says, you're just trying to get these people to convince themselves they don't need to drive in the first place. You're grandchildrening them into rideshare is what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're not grandfathering them in, I guess. That would make no sense. You're letting them know, yeah, you know what? You're never going to need that license anyway. Look how much easier it is just to hop in a car. You don't have to focus on the traffic or the street lights or anything.
It's like the local drug dealer saying, hey, the first bump's on me. No, don't worry about it. Here, just have a little. And then pretty soon, you're stealing your buddy's money out of his piggy bank.
Uber, we're your pusher, baby. That's such a 70s term, pusher.
Pusher man, yeah.
Yeah, man. They're pushing on you. This is only available if you have a brand new Uber Teen account. If you already have an account, it's too late. You have to start an Uber Teen account and then tell them, sorry, I failed my driver's test. Also, not valid in California. This reminds me, speaking of California, in the early 90s, there was a thing. I remember being in L.A. and hearing about a rideshare service at the time that was specifically designed to keep people from driving drunk. This is way before rideshare was a thing, but it was basically a group of people in different neighborhoods in L.A., they would sign up to do overnight shifts. You could get a mailing list of numbers. If you're somewhere and you can't get a taxi and you're too drunk to drive, call this number and someone will come and pick you up and bring you home, which is really nice. That's a great concept. The problem was people were leaving parties, calling this number, and then getting dropped off at another party.
Oh.
Well, there's always a quick workaround, isn't there? I mean,
always.
It was Dave, if you're listening, I forget, but it was like back in the 90s. I remember being out at a bar gig, and he's like, hey, man, can I jump on the microphone? Just let anyone know I'm here to give them a ride home. I'm like, oh, what's your angle? Is that your thing? Is that how you get drunk chicks home? You creep. Get out of here. He said, no. Sincerely, he goes, if anyone's drinking, he goes, I just want to, help people that otherwise would walk out to the parking lot and jump in their car behind their wheel, save them from a bad time, or maybe some other folks. And I was so suspicious at the time. I'm like, what are you going for? Because it was a free ride.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tried to kind of get, he goes, no, there's a group of us. We just go out to bars and hang out. It seemed so creepy back at the time. But now it just seems damn responsible and almost prophetic. But good job, Dave, wherever you're at out there. But yeah, we were just so suspicious when it first came along.
Well, listen, nothing good ever happens without a healthy amount of suspicion at first. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because if you're suspicious of a good intention, and if they turn on you, they didn't mean it. You know what I mean? It's just a litmus test.
Yeah.
That's how that works. That makes perfect sense to me. The holidays are behind us, but there's still some people who are struggling to make sense of their Christmas funk. Specifically, a bunch of people in Lakeville, Massachusetts are probably feeling pretty rough, knowing that a discovery was made in the woods outside of Lakeville, Michigan, Massachusetts, just a couple of days before Christmas. It wasn't like a discovery of, it wasn't like some bad teenagers left behind some roaches or anything that was like you'd hear about when I was a kid. It was a bad Amazon driver left behind, about 80 packages. An Amazon driver was losing his mind with how busy his day was, how crazy his holiday season was. He just had a little bit of a meltdown and decided, you know what? I'm just going to take all these Christmas packages and drop them in the woods. Over 80 packages. 80.
Wow. That's if I was in that area, I would be telling my significant other, see, I did get you something really nice and expensive. This a-hole threw it out in the woods.
I returned from a tour in 2008 without a present for my wife. We went to Australia and New Zealand, and I had something for Connell, and I had something for Marley, and she's like, hi. And I was like, and this is a true story. I had found her something very, very, that I knew she would love, and I left it right there in the hotel. It's really true. It was it was her birthstone garnet, and I found these garnet sort of opal looking earrings, and I just knew she would love them. She doesn't wear a lot of earrings, but small, long story short. And right when I got home and was unpacking, I went, where are those earrings? And I immediately knew where they were. And I called my tour manager and I go, hey, I know it's been like a week, but can you call that hotel in Sydney and ask if they blah, blah, blah? And my tour manager's like, are you kidding me? There's no way. She said, no, they would have let me know they found them. And I said, just do it. And she contacted me. They were like, no, we've never seen anything like it. And I'm like, yeah, because your maid is wearing them now. And by the way, you know what? Good for her. I don't even blame her. I'm the idiot who left them behind. But these things happen. But to your point, Zepp, make no mistake. If I hear about an Amazon driver abandoning dozens and dozens of packages in my neighborhood, I'll be telling all kinds of people. Now, you're not going to believe this. You're not going to believe this. I found the coolest gift for you. And, sorry, apparently the Amazon guy freaked out. The Amazon driver, of course, they did determine who it was. It's not like these things don't have barcodes.
Right.
And there's not work logs. He told police, I was just really stressed, man. Just really stressed.
Well, thanks for not picking up a gun. It's whatever gets you through the night. But maybe Amazon driving isn't for you, Perhaps a nice desk job. Perhaps something in radio. Come on over and answer our phones. It's a non-paying job.
I can remember very clearly my son looking at me, and he was watching some show, and they were talking about, and they were using an expression. He looked at me, and he goes, what does that mean, go postal? And I was like,
all right.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. Back in the day, I go, there was a series of U.S. mail employees, and I was trying to explain it to him, and the look on his face, he was like, wait, what? Man, he's just picturing, he grew up with Corey. We've had the same guy deliver our mail forever when we, at our house in Nashville. Like, our kids grew up, and they knew this guy. Hey, there's Corey. And he's, hey, what's up? He loved the dogs. Friendliest guy in the world. He walks the route. And he's just picturing the one mailman he's ever known. He's like, wait a minute, what? I'm like, I don't think it was the guys. I don't think it was the guys that deliver the mail. I think it was more the guys in the back processing centers. I could be wrong, but just trying to explain the whole concept of. And he goes, and so wait, like. So then going postal was like a joke people would make? I'm like, yeah, it was a different time.
Yeah, it was.
These were
the
different
insensitive
times.
80s. Yeah, it was a brutal time.
As the
but in a
daughter
fun
of a
way.
postal worker, I've got a guy who'd be happy to explain the whole situation to Connell and can do it in a very funny way. I heard a lot about going postal back in the 90s.
Oh, my gosh. I bet you did.
Yeah. So.
Ooh, man. But this driver, I'm just picturing the guy driving along. How long do you think he was thinking? How long did the thought go, you know what, screw it. I'm going to throw all these things in the woods. My guess is 3 years.
Oh, yeah. It was probably a long time coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was just that day. I don't think that was the day he got one too many cups of coffee. I think this seed was planted a long time ago. He held off for as long as he could.
And there's a ripple effect, isn't there? I mean, think about all those porch pirates that were denied in that neighborhood. They're thinking, what are these people, deadbeats? What are they going out? Are they going to brick and mortar? Are they shopping in person? What in the hell? Where are the packages at? It's not just the customer that gets hurt in a deal like this.
I've had some moments. I've had some moments at jobs. You get a little stressed out and you just got to unplug. But I've never had a job where it really impacted anybody's life ever. I guess when I was in a band, if you blow off a gig, then that's terrible. And of all the things my band did that you might say are questionable, we never did that. We never blew off a gig. We had to cancel some gigs that we were never happy about. Like, that was the one thing.
Yeah.
Like, we might be the most miserable bunch of guys you ever met and just terrible to each other and just like wondering what the meaning of life is. But at 9 p.m., it's like, hey, we get to forget our problems for 2 hours. If we get on stage, that's more likely that we won't break up for 2 hours. That was sort of the prevailing thing. But every other job, even in this job, like right now, if I'm freaking out, I'll just turn my mic off and look at you and make a hand gesture, and you'll be like, okay, and you'll just keep going. Like, I can do it.
Yeah,
we could run a test of it right now.
We've had a fair amount of that happen in these very studios over the years. A lot of hand gesturing, a lot of harumphing off the air. That's all part of it. There's a time and a place to vent a little bit. And hell, we've had some of it on the air, let's be honest. But yeah, you're right. It doesn't really affect anyone's day. They'll just go down the dial somewhere else where someone's having a good time. I do sometimes feel guilty about all those traffic accidents I make up every morning. I think, what if people are actually rerouting because I just made up an accident? No. That's not true. That's not true. I don't do that. I take it very seriously. Accident blocking a left lane in Shakopee on 169 northbound.
Every now and again, I am reminded of the power we choose not to wield on this morning show. Like, oh yeah, that's right, man. We could really make a mess of things, couldn't we? I think it's best that I continue to work in jobs where it's just not that big a deal. Like, I worked at a record store in the late 80s, a great used record store. And Ryder, I'm sure you understand that there are moments in working in record stores when you look around and realize, like, I and everyone I work with, we're all just completely insane. Who thinks this is a good way to pass the time? And then you look at the customers and you're like, look at all these people. They could be anywhere, and they're in here, flipping through bin after bin after bin. They don't know what they're looking for. They have no idea why they're even here. And then at some point, and this is a true story from, I used to think that, but I would never do anything about it. I'm the low man on the totem pole. The manager of my store, I lived in his house. I rented a room from him. Like, that was so, we were together a lot. He was a famously grumpy used record store manager. He's like right out of Central Casting. And there were more than a handful of times, and then, we closed at 7:30, and it'd be about 6:50, 6:45, and he would just walk over and he'd start flipping the lights on and off, and he'd say, I need everybody who's not already holding something they know they're going to buy to get the hell out of here right now. And he would do that, and everybody, and it was like he just had that aura that nobody questioned it. Like, oh, okay. And he would just look at me and the guy at the register, and he'd go, "Well, I got to get out of here." We were just like, cool. I'm still getting my $5 an hour. I don't care when we leave. This is awesome.
There's a lovely arrogance that comes with record stores, and I'm not suggesting Mr. Ryder over down in the valley, but maybe just a little bit. And I absolutely love it. I remember being in there one day. It wasn't down in the valley, and I said, "Why is where are the Springsteen records? They're in the B's. They're in the B for Bruce."
Ooh, that would never ever happen at down in the valley.
No,
I know where to put those S records.
Yeah, I'm like, you see how this isn't a library, man. If it's not in the S's, go look at the B's or get out. And I was like, and I just went quietly over to the B's and went, "Yes, sir." I would never put up with that anywhere else but at a record shop. For some reason, I don't know why.
If you're the kind of person who just loves to judge strangers, work at a record store.
Yeah,
man, is that the perfect world for you? People come, every single person, everybody. There's always somebody who's like, "Yeah, do you have that Cocteau Twins 12-inch import?" And you're just like, "I know a lot more about you than you think I
do." You weirdo.
It's fantastic. Workplace meltdowns. I'm sure some of us have jobs where it's more impactful than others. Have you ever had one yourself? If you've got a good workplace meltdown story, we'd love to hear it. 651-989-ROCK. Give us a call or send us a text. The KQRS Facebook page is right there for the posting as well. Let's continue with workplace meltdowns. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
It is January the 10th. Very nice to be with you as the weekend is now upon us. Big weekend for football, man. NFL playoffs get going. We got to wait till Monday night to see the Vikings, but they will be playing the Rams in Arizona, which is the appropriate move. Get that game out of Los Angeles. College and pro football over the weekend. Real quick, Zepp, did you see Penn State last night? Dropping a heartbreaker.
Don't we have a story to get on to? Don't we have Steve stay on task? Ryder did not write this into the...
Get back to the one.
No, I'll tell you what.
I missed it.
No, I'll tell you what. I'm not a diehard Penn State fan. I did have an uncle that played there in the early 1970s, so I kind of grew up digging Penn State a little bit. But, yeah, no, and Penn State, before they joined the Big Ten, were always an independent team, so every year they played Notre Dame.
Yeah.
So I grew up watching Notre Dame Penn State games. Cool to see them back on the field again, and a damn entertaining game. And but yeah, Penn State quarterback threw a late interception and handed it over, man. But damn entertaining. Stayed up late and then I was watching it in bed on my laptop. I just shut my laptop and pushed it off the side of the bed.
I fell asleep in the third quarter and then woke up with about 8 minutes to go. Thankfully, I was like, "Oh, sweet, it's still going on." And then I watched it, and that's one of those no dog in the fight. Was happy to watch a game go back and forth. Two really good teams. I'm of the opinion that it's not going to matter because the way Ohio State has looked in their two playoff games, nobody's going to touch them.
Yeah, no one wanted to see Penn State get their ass handed to them by Ohio State again.
No, that was exciting, but a lot of great football over the weekend, and that's something to look forward to for all of us. Hey, and then we top it off Monday night with a big win over the Rams in Arizona. Let's go, ladies and gentlemen. We were just talking about the fact that a couple days before Christmas in Massachusetts, an Amazon driver who lately told police, "I was just way too stressed, man." He dumped 80 packages from the back of his truck in the woods. Now, remember, 2 days before Christmas. I don't think there was a lot of, pens and paper clips in those deliveries. These were Christmas gifts. And the guy got a little bit stressed. That's the video I want to see. So he's having a workplace meltdown. He says, "Screw it. I'm getting rid of these packages." Does it look, is he calm? Like, once he's accepted, I'm doing this, does a feeling of calm come over him and he methodically pulls package after package after package and places them in the woods? Or is it like Steve Martin in Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when he finally just goes, "Ah, God," and loses his mind? Does he rip the door open? Is he flinging them right hand, left hand? Are they going all in every direction? That's, of all the cameras on the planet, and we can't capture an Amazon guy emptying the back of his truck? Come on,
no
people.
doubt. Yeah,
I mean, one little comet enters Russian airspace and 600 dash cams have it in 2 seconds. But we missed an Amazon driver losing his mind and dumping 80 Christmas presents in the woods. That's a bummer, man.
Yeah.
But looking around, the world, a lot of workplace meltdowns. That happens to the best of us. You can text us 651-989-ROCK or call if you have a workplace meltdown to share. You can also hit the KQRS Facebook page. Listen to this text that came in on the line. Please don't say my name. About 40 years ago, I was sitting outside my work, smoking some weed, when a coworker came out and went over to his own car, pulled out a baseball bat, and proceeded to smash out all the windows in his car.
What?
When he was done, he went back inside the building where we worked. He called the cops and reported that someone smashed out all of his windows.
What the hell?
The cops came. He filed a police report. I didn't say anything. I hid in my car so nobody knew I was. I hid in my car so nobody knew I was there. Guy looked like a crazy man when he was smashing out those windows. I never spoke to him again and always avoided him at work.
Yeah. Well, I mean, exactly.
At least it was his own car.
Yeah.
Right. Where was the boss's car parked at, for crying out loud? We had a story not too long ago. It was a road rage incident where a guy was a small town crime wave. That's right. Minnesota small town crime wave when we were up at Cragen's. Some guy stopped in traffic, got out, busted his own windshield, got back in and drove off. He road raged himself. This guy lost it at work on himself, which is kind of like the Amazon driver. Now, there were, I guess, victims in quotations because he threw him in the woods, but he didn't hurt anyone, He didn't go postal
by the
to borrow
way,
that.
I saw, this is a good meltdown that has a happy ending. A driver the other day, he got cut off in traffic. He had a brief back and forth road rage incident, but then it ended. He finally said, I got to get away from this guy. He's crazy.
Yeah.
And the car in front of him, his license plate was all numbers. And so this guy pulled off into a gas station and he went in and played the daily lotto pick with the numbers from the license plate in front of him.
Okay.
And he bought 10 tickets with the same numbers. That was his way to he said, well, I put down $10. I said, give me 10 plays and the same numbers every time, the same 5 numbers from this license plate. It hit. And he had 10 winning tickets, $50,000 each. He won $500,000.
No!
That's the best revenge.
Yeah, that is, isn't it?
Channeling road rage into $500,000. That's what's that called? A driving road rage melt up? It's not a meltdown.
That's just called being a beautiful bastard right there.
Yeah.
You mentioned that the Amazon driver didn't catch any video. We didn't get to enjoy it beyond the story that we had, but sometimes it is caught on video. You guys remember this one from last year. Spirit Airlines gate attendant has had enough.
Yes, you do. All right. So everyone's going to shut up, and we're going to say this once, and we're only going to say it again because we're frustrated as hell. Please be quiet so I can think of what's going on. I don't even know what aircraft's here because everybody's screaming numbers. I don't know what I have. I'm going to be honest. I don't know what aircraft's sitting out there and don't know what's going on. You guys won't give me a minute. Please give me a minute.
Otherwise known as Ryder during commercial breaks.
Please give me a minute. Yeah.
Man. I tell you what, man. Honestly, I think I'd feel better if that was my gate agent because, otherwise she's putting on such a mask of trying to stay calm, and she's acting, so therefore she's not processing well. This woman is like ripping the mask off, ripping off the handcuffs of dignity and decorum, and going, "That's it. I got to focus, and you people are all gonna." You're all going to get it. I bet she was far more effective from the next few minutes. That was great.
Yeah. All right, everybody, listen to me right now. Bob, on the KQ Facebook page, we had to let a guy go for yelling at a customer. He started throwing chairs in the office, smashed the door, and this is a beautiful, sprayed the fire extinguisher all over the inside of the work van. Thank you, Stillwater Bob.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Man, I mentioned I worked at a record store and my manager would freak out and close the store early sometimes. You know what else I saw him do? On the same day, so in the back room we had all the extra records. Now this place this place is still open in Atlanta, Georgia, and I worked there 35 years ago, but it's still there, and the upstairs room is all of the back stock. Like, that's where you have 14 vinyl copies of the Saturday Night Fever soundtrack, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's hundreds of thousands, if not at least 100,000 albums in this back room. And you go pick one out, and there's 31 Led Zeppelin 4s. I mean, it's just used. Some are $2, some are $6, whatever, depending on the condition. It's just a room full of records. And I walked into that room one day, and he was standing there, and he had a stack of records on a table next to him, and he was taking the album out of the sleeve and just whipping them into the wall. And then he would take the next one, he'd look at it, and he would make sure it was in really bad shape, probably never going to sell, but they would never get rid of it. And then, and he was shattering albums against the concrete wall. And I was like, dude, are you okay? And he just put his hand up like, it's all good. He was all zen now that he'd started that, right? And I was like, okay, that's really weird, but okay. And then 4 or 5 hours later, as I said, I lived in this guy's house. I walk into the house. It's dark already. I open the front door. There's not a light on in the house. And I just hear this every 9 seconds. I hear something break. And I'm like, hello? And I'm thinking someone's rolling the joint. There's going to be thieves in the kitchen. I walk into the kitchen, turn the light on, and he's standing about 4 feet away from the sink. He had one of these. It was an old, really deep, like ceramic, hardcore, old school sinks. And he's got a ton of just drinking glasses, and one after the other. He's just throwing them into the sink where they shatter, and all the glass mostly stays in the sink. Mostly.
Oh, no.
And I'm like, dude, what's going on? And he just did the same thing. Put his hand up. He goes, it's okay. I'm all right. And he just needed to break things, but he was so calm about it. And I remember thinking, well, that's really great. He's got a healthy way of doing this, and he's probably going to strangle me when I sleep tonight.
I'm out of that house, I'm sleeping on the street if I have to. Those sort of mellow meltdowns, where they're, like you said, that sense of zen. I want to see a little rage. Well, this one I think qualifies as sort of a mellow meltdown. And maybe he has some right to it. An Iowa TV sports reporter. I think we did this one a couple of years ago. He does the sports, the easiest gig in broadcasting, but not this morning. The weather guy that goes out there and stands in the weather, that goofball, called in sick on a very cold morning in Iowa.
I normally do sports. Everything is canceled here for the next couple of days. So what better time to ask the sports guy to come in about 5 hours earlier than he would normally wake up, go stand out in the wind and the snow and the cold and tell other people not to do the same. I didn't even realize that there was a 3:30 also in the morning until today. How do I get that Storm Chaser 7 duty? I feel like Clint got the better end of that deal. That thing's heated. The outdoors currently is not heated.
Yeah, that was montage 3 of his, as let's go out to Dick and get a sense of what's happening out there. Dick Taylor, not once did he ever really give a weather report, and the fourth one was the best, but we have no audio because he wasn't there. They just went to an empty shot of the street. He just had it, fed up, and left. That was the end of that.
I don't know a lot about how network TV works, but I do know that the people running the Today Show were not impressed. He's on some local affiliate, and they're like, yeah, there's a kid. He's got a rising star over him down in Iowa. Let's take it. Oh, wait, never mind. Never mind.
Yeah, right.
Nope. He needs to start looking north to the Dakotas for his next gig. Falling off the Iowa tree is what that's called. Like, hey, quick shout out to Minneapolis, where we happen to be. We're surrounded. We're knee deep in Minneapolis. Hell, we're more than knee deep. We're in Minneapolis. Shout out to everybody in Minneapolis joining us for the morning. Glad to have you with us. From meltdowns there's meltdowns and then there's drunken meltdowns. Bartenders unite. Bartenders of the world unite and take over. How many drunken customers do you remember serving? How many great stories do you have? I want to hear from some bartenders and their drunkest customers. 651-989-ROCK. Hang tight.
Connect with us on the KQ Talk and Text line. 651-989-ROCK. That's 651-989-ROCK. 92 KQRS.
We were talking about workplace meltdowns. Nobody sees more meltdowns at work than bartenders, I would imagine. Lot of drunk customer stories out there for sure. That's just the sun comes up in the east and you serve drunk people who lose their minds. No shortage of opportunities to mine that, if you will. 651-989-ROCK is the KQ Talker text line. We'd love to hear from you if you got a good story for us. Looks like we've got somebody locked and loaded. Is this Jeff from Ramsey Rider? Am I reading that correctly?
Actually, I think it might be Taylor from the Crooked Pine in Shaska.
What?
Taylor, good morning.
Good morning, Dad. Surprise.
Taylor, the magnificent.
Happy birthday Eve, Dad.
Oh, well, thank you.
There it is.
Happy birthday, Dad.
Yeah, I got one more left here in the 50s before, I'm officially an old codger. And I hang in there.
I don't even think he's noticed that Sydney's on the phone yet.
Oh, was that the other kid? Sid the kid?
Yeah, can they hear me?
There she is.
I heard you say hello. I just thought it was a bad. Sid the kid and Taylor. Best things the only two damn things I ever did right in my life.
Yeah, you started to say the best things. I was going to go, is there more?
No, that suddenly occurred to me that's it. This is it. Right here. Well, ladies, I love this surprise this morning. Thank you. Now you've gotten out of having to buy me anything or actually call me on my birthday. Yeah.
See?
Yeah, no, this is it.
I'm impressed.
Well, I mean, as long as we have the Zepp sisters on the horn, I feel like I need to ask a few questions. I mean, First things first. Ladies, is there a story that your dad tells about you on the air that he gets completely wrong?
Huh?
Okay.
Oh, no.
So many stories my dad tells on the air about us that we've heard throughout the years from teachers who listen and different people that what? No, that never happened. That wasn't me. That never happened. One time he told a story about me and my friends that I couldn't even begin to say how it was fabricated, but one I want to tell. It wasn't technically on the radio, but when I was in high school, my dad hosted the TV show TCL Live, Twin Cities Live, for KQ. And on live television, while I'm in the audience watching, he told everybody that he's not my real father.
Well, by the way, I believe that was before Maury started doing that.
Yeah, no, Maury
he might have been watching
from him.
I think so, maybe. Well, you got to say something. Something interesting has to come out of my mouth every once in a while. So you laughed along with it. You get it. And besides, we've never technically done the 23andMe thing yet, so we don't know. We don't know.
We don't. You're
not
right.
for sure. Not. Yeah.
It's still up in the air.
There are questions that are best left unanswered in the world. Yeah. I mean, I'm
right.
And if you're not my kid,
yeah. If you don't know that you want to walk through that door, just leave it shut. That's one of those things. Well, as it's Brian's birthday, girls, ladies, women, there's a trick in radio. There's a fun thing about radio, which is anything you say on the mic, you get immunity for. If you say it on the air, you cannot be prosecuted later. It's weird how that works. Is there anything either one of you guys want to fess up to? Is there something you got away with that Brian still doesn't know about? Anything on the list there?
I think Sid's going to make me answer this one, too, because Sid tells Dad everything.
I was going to say, Dad wasn't the parent I was trying to keep any secrets from. So.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Yeah, Dad, I told Dad basically everything, too. He's easy to talk to, but there was one growing up that I really tucked deep down inside, and it's when I was like 16 or 17 years old, me and my best friend Jamie were leaving the house in my Toyota Camry and backing out of the driveway, and I backed into his custom Harley Davidson, and I don't know if you guys know anything about my dad, but he loves that bike more than he's ever loved me or my sister.
When I went out and found it laying in the lawn, and I was like blaming the neighbor kid or something for trying to crawl on top of my bike. I know he's trying to sit on my bike. You ran into my motorcycle?
We picked it back up. Oh,
that's right. There was grass all over it.
It fell into the yard, and we were like, okay, we're good. We picked it back up, which is really heavy at 16 years old.
Yeah.
And we thought we're like, we're good. He'll never figure it out. It fell into the yard. There's nothing on it. And you found dirt in the handlebar.
Yeah.
It got shoved in there from the yard. And you always blamed Grandpa. And I let Grandpa take the fall.
I did. And I let him off the hook because I'm like, well, he's an old man, but we got to do something about Grandpa. Take his license away. You little. Wow, you are a stinker. Wow. And you listen to me rage about that for days, years.
Years, really. That was
God.
the one that I was always like, I can never tell him this.
How do you freaking miss a Harley in the driveway? It wasn't like it was a tricycle, for crying out loud.
That's fantastic.
I was backing into everything at that age. I was just like, beep, beep, crash.
All right.
Man,
All right.
the things you learn on your 59th birthday. Amazing.
All right, Sydney, fess up. Were you texting when you crashed and destroyed my Monte Carlo SS? Were you texting? Yes or no?
I don't think so. I really don't think I was. I was drinking like a Starbucks.
Oh, all right.
I was really distracted with that.
Then
Yeah.
we did total the car, yeah.
Totally.
Oh,
fair, yeah.
no, she
Just
was-
put
she
new
was-
tires on it, by the way. Just put new tires on it the week before. $1,000 in new tires.
Yeah.
On a perfectly sunny day, Highway 42 down there in Savage or whatever, rear ends a car at a stoplight. I'm like, what are you doing? I was behind her,
Yeah,
following
I
in
should
my
not
truck.
have gotten
I'm
my
like, I
driver's
don't
license.
see brake lights.
No. Oh, you had to watch it happen. Oh, man. That must have
Came
been
up
like
upon
super slow-mo as you're
carnage.
seeing it all happening.
Yeah, and then I get upset, and she gets upset at me. Like, Dad, I'm upset. I was just in an accident. Do you have to yell at me? I'm like, what? What? I don't.
I just love that. I love that the answer to that is no. I wasn't distracted driving because I was texting. I was distracted driving because I was working over a Starbucks.
Yeah.
Get it together, man.
Oh, well. All right.
All right. Just to make it even worse, what's the most your dad has ever embarrassed you guys? What is there a moment you look back and you just think you got to be kidding? Of all the dads in the world, and I got Brian Zepp.
Ooh, I got this one. So in 4th grade, I was on the bus on my way to school, as one is in 4th grade, and my bus driver turns on KQ.
Well, that
and
happened.
yeah, why that was an idea, I don't know. But then I got to listen to my dad talk about how he wanted to have, we'll say, adult relations with my teacher. And
No.
he was beautiful. Very beautiful woman.
Yeah, as I recall. Very friendly, I thought,
So I got some words about that from my classmates for a while.
I was trying to be flattering in my own awkward way. But yeah, that bus driver that had the KQ freaking morning
I'm
show
sure
on a
she was
bus with
flattered.
4th graders, that's
Sydney
that's
did
irresponsible.
tell me when she told that story, you were going to deflect saying that the bus driver shouldn't have had KQ on.
Yeah.
I should have had KQ on.
By the way,
He's like, cute. I'll turn on Sydney's dad here for a second.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Well, let me tell you what happened with your teacher. No, I'm kidding. No.
No. Miss Applebaum was always the lady.
Always.
That to me, I'm loving that. Like you said, oh yeah, I heard about that one for a while. If that happened, if I were in 4th grade riding the bus and a girl I went to school with that happened to, I'd still be texting her about it. So you got off lucky
Yeah,
if
I
you
got
can
at
go.
least one friend that won't let that one down.
Sure you do. Oh yeah, absolutely. Have you guys? Hey, Taylor and Sydney, have you guys ever embarrassed your dad? Is that even possible?
No.
No, I can't think of any time.
Yeah, I can't recall a time.
We covered a lot of this on Father's Day, but Taylor, the time that you convinced me that you hadn't cheated on a test. And I went in and sat down with the teacher and the principal, and I went to bat for my daughter because she wouldn't lie to me. I said, kiddo, there are no consequences. Just let me know before we go into that school. And she looked me right in the eye, just like I would look my dad in the eye, and said, Dad, I'm telling you the truth. And at some point, as they're laying out the evidence, I went, that little
what?
She's lying to me. I knew you were lying to me. And then you fessed up afterwards. Couldn't have fessed up for you. But I was a little embarrassed as I sat there and went, oh, I'm the dumbass dad. Yeah, that's me.
That's absolutely awesome. Dad, you've got a full clip and one in the chamber. Go after it, Chief. Nothing but blanks.
Yeah, no. But anyway, I don't think Sid the Kid, I'd have to think about it, but I'm sure there might have been a moment or two. But mostly pretty easy kids. Pretty easy kids. I got off lucky. I'm sure I was the troublemaker in the family.
Well, guys, thanks for taking the time to get up so early in the morning when the last thing you have to do is be awake this early. But it is a legitimate thrill for me and Ryder. And oddly enough, your dad to have you on the show. So thanks for calling in.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. You guys, happy birthday, Dad.
Thank you,
Yeah,
ladies.
happy birthday, Dad.
I love you too much.
Aww.
Ooh.
Love you.
Love you.
Isn't that nice?
Thank
Bang.
you. That's pretty cool. That's the best birthday gift I've ever received, except for some cash one time.
Hey, you listen, I don't want you to feel bad. Me and Ryder, we've been cheating on you with a separate text thread to get this whole thing set up.
Yeah, how does this happen?
I was so convinced you knew when you said, my kids will never call me when we were talking about that earlier this morning. I'm like, God, he freaking knows, and they're going to punk us.
No, they kept their little secrets like they do.
That's how that works. That's how that works. Well, anyway, I haven't actually said it. Happy birthday, brother.
Happy birthday,
Thank you.
man.
I appreciate that. Another trip around, and no worse for the wear.
No, it's a beautiful thing. I'll say this, as long as we're all just bearing our souls. This is the beginning. I'm a week into my third year on KQ.
Yeah.
And I told this story once before, but when this whole idea came up and I got a call, like, hey, you don't want to come to Minnesota, do you? And I was like, sure I do. Just in going back and forth with the powers that be, the first time I talked to you on the phone, I said, well, give me Brian's number. I'm going to call him. And then we texted. The first time we talked, we got on the phone. I said, hey, man, so we're talking about this. And you said, yeah. And we had a back and forth. It was probably 15 minutes tops. It wasn't that long.
Yeah.
It was just sort of a, what do you think? How would this work? What do you want to do? What do you think? And I hung up the phone and I called James, the program director, and I said, let's do it. I'll totally work with that guy.
Yeah.
And I knew. I mean, in one conversation, I was like, that is fantastic. We have a perfect amount of not anything in common, but we see things a lot of the same. And I said, that's going to work for me. And that truly is what sold me on it. It took less than 15 minutes. So cheers to you for that, brother. I'm very, very happy to be here. And I hope you have a great rest of your day now that your workday's almost done.
Yeah, I mean, it's not often I'm speechless, but I am. And just a big fat thank you to all involved. And I see my phone blowing up here, so...
As I've heard myself say many times, no, I'm not kidding you. He's a great guy. Really.
Absolutely.
Come on now. I have a reputation. Don't start that crap. I'm going to be extra mean on Monday.
There it is. All right. It's a birthday. It's a Zepp birthday weekend that we're kicking off today. Happy birthday, brother. We're ready for the top 5 at 9. Hang tight.
It's the KQ Morning Show, 92 KQRS. It's the KQ Morning Show on Minnesota's Classic Rock, 92 KQRS.
It is Friday, January the 10th. It's our tiny dancer's birthday. Brian Zepp, happy birthday, brother.
Hold me closer.
Oh, what a day. What a day. If you're just joining us, you missed the Zepp kids. Taylor and Sydney called in to wish the old man the best and, of course, share some incriminating stories. So we've had a lot of fun already today. But if you are just joining us, if you're just getting up, I say it most days, congratulations. You've won the lottery. You woke up at 9. Man.
Sure.
Man, oh, man, is that good stuff.
Yeah.
The weekend is upon us. Hey, listen, this is important, okay? This cold weather's not going to be here forever. And with that in mind, the 2025 Tee It Up Golf Card presented by Club Champion goes on sale today at 9 a.m., which is in about 20 seconds.
Oh,
Golf
boy.
6 area courses and save nearly $200. That's right. The 2025 Tee It Up Golf Card presented by Club Champion goes on sale today, right now. Golf 6 area courses and save nearly $200. I don't know what else you need to do with your time, but I'd get on it.
Wouldn't that make a lovely Christmas present for a father? Ladies, they're already back to sleep. One's a bartender and the other one, I don't know what she does. I haven't asked yet.
I'll tip them off. Text golf to 651-989 Rock, and you can buy that.
All right,
Really?
thank you.
Oh, fair enough. I like that. All right. That amount of business, the Zepp birthday greetings have all been given and a lot of love here. But you know what? It's time to get back to the real task at hand, and that is to give you the top 5 at 9. Let's go. Here's 5 stories that jumped off the page to us this morning. The Los Angeles wildfires continuing on. We're up to 6 now, I believe. Separate fires. The Palisades fire is getting most of the attention. Largely because that's where a lot of celebrities live, and we can't help it. That's what we focus on. Altadena, which is east of downtown L.A., right near Pasadena, that entire area, all of Altadena looks to be gone. There's 45,000 people that live there, and it's gone. I mean, this is continuing to turn into one of the most horrific natural disasters in any era, much less just our lifetime. Certainly for Southern California in my lifetime. And right now, the newest fire, the Kenneth fire, apparently was intentionally set.
Yeah.
Talk about insult to injury. The fact that somebody followed a few of the first fires with starting one of their own. I'm usually one for let's see what's going on, why this happened, what's the motive, is this person insane? Not so much thinking that right now. All I'm thinking is, let's put this guy away where the sun don't shine forever. This is a bizarre story. The gentleman who they have arrested, the citizen that was arrested was actually detained by other citizens before the police could get involved and finally take him in. We do have a little bit of one of the LA police talking about what happened.
What we know right now is that the incident started here, and about 30 minutes later, a suspect was detained over in Woodland Hills area by citizens. It's being investigated as a crime.
If I'm part of a group of citizens that catch that guy, I shudder to think what might happen to him.
Yeah, burning alive comes to mind. And I say that only slightly tongue-in-cheek. But, having spent some time out west with forest fires, and I got to know a couple of smoke jumpers that make their living doing that in Montana, who are now, one of them, out in California right now praying for their safety. But they talk about when multiple fires are started, arson is the first place they go. A fire starts. You've got the Santa Ana winds whipping up to 100 miles an hour. Unbelievable, creating sort of a perfect firestorm out there, if you will. But so many sprung up in such a short period of time. They're taking a closer look at this. I hope not for humanity's sake, but we might find out that not all of these fires were accidental.
No, with so little rain over the whole last year out there, really devastatingly little rain. And then, like you said, you have the Santa Ana winds, but then these are the hyper Santa Anas, hurricane strength winds. It's true that one cigarette tossed out of a car can kick off one of these fires. It's truly all it takes. And so some of these you do think I'm sure they were accidental, but the idea that somebody would go out there and intentionally start a fire right now, it's just horrific. We continue to monitor and think and hope for the best for so many people out there. This is many tens of thousands of people who will be without their homes before this is all said and done. Absolutely atrocious. Number 4 on your top 5 at 9. Here's a bummer. The Lake Minnetonka Klondike Dog Derby has been canceled this year. And when I say it's a bummer, I mean that. Rosemary sent me a link like a month ago. Hey, check this out. They have a Klondike Dog Derby in February out in Excelsior. And I was like, no way. And we 100% hand on my heart, we're like, we're going to go check that out. We've never been to a dog sledding event. I was very excited to go, but now apparently lack of snow so far. Even though it's cold, they can't guarantee they're going to have what they need to pull off a successful race, so they're bagging it for the year.
I know. I was giving them a bad time earlier by saying about 40 people were planning on going, but they don't. Minnesotans apparently can't get enough of the snow. We either hide from it or we just plow right into it, and so that's a bummer. These things are just good for the morale, I think, to get people out of the house. They're going a little stir crazy even this time of the year. Well, they got the ice castles over at the fairgrounds, don't they? That's all frozen up over there. I think the ice castles are going. I hear it's a hell of a thing, and I have to check it out.
But are the dogs making the ice castles? Because
no,
I just wanted to see some dogs, really.
You take Chauncey over to the ice castles and let him pee on one of the ice castles.
Yeah, see how quickly that melts.
As soon as you said Chauncey, my first thought was you have no idea how much urine that boy can hold at one time until he goes to a new area and has to mark every single thing he sees. It's incredible. Number 3 on your top 5 at 9. In case we didn't know this, men are just the worst. God, we have issues. My goodness. A new study in both American, British, and Swedish, a bunch of people talked about, interviewed and polled in those 3 countries from the University of Durham in England is showing that in terms of heterosexual married couples where the woman is earning more than the man, more men than not find themselves with real mental health issues as a result. Your wife earns more than you, and you're suddenly very upset about it. And it causes a lot of men to sort of cave in. Their confidence, their sense of self, Zepp and I already put this one up on the table and under the microscope, and we've decided if you have a problem with your wife earning more, just walk into the ocean.
Right. Sorry for you. Please support me. Support me. I don't know that I'm going to get all the things done around the house that a good homemaker would do. In fact, I just won't. I might even hire it out if you make enough money.
Yeah, sure.
But please, I'm ready to be supported. I'm all in on it. So sugar mamas out there, come get me.
So progressive of the two of you.
It's super hyper progressive. Yeah. It's that old Ramones song, I Want to Be Supported. It's one of my favorites. I'm all for it. If somebody wants to hire Rosemary to, come in, I don't even care what the job is. Just, get her up there. It would be absolutely fantastic. And this is the other thing, too. You always hear about Hollywood couples. Famously, like Hilary Swank, the actress, won an Oscar, right? Boys Don't Cry. Won the Oscar. Her career exploded. Her husband at the time was an actor whose career was going nowhere near as well as hers. And a couple years later, when they divorced, he said flat out, I just couldn't handle her success.
Well,
And I remember at the time going, what is wrong with you? What did you meet her in a cave and knock her over the head and drag her by her hair back to your house? What does that mean you couldn't handle her success? I can handle the hell out of some success.
Yeah, where the hell did you pick up that ego? If you had been to the mountaintop, like say a Brad Pitt, and then fallen from grace and couldn't get hired anywhere, and her career was taking off, there's just that's the old human condition, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, you were always a has-been. Be happy for her success and help her spend some of it. Help her measure out where that pool's going to go in the backyard. You're going to float around in.
Yeah, I'm just totally going off the beaten path now, but it does remind me, Sandra Bullock was with a guy, he died last year, sadly. I think he had ALS or something similar. But I think they met, he was, maybe I'm getting my stories crossed, but he was a photographer, but not like a fashion photographer, just a photographer for like wildlife or something, or maybe he was a gardener. My point is he was nothing even close to a celebrity or a star on any level. And she said when they first met and started dating, she was like, oh, he's one of the first guys I met in years that wasn't freaked out by my success. And I'm like, man, I just, guys, get it together.
Please.
Come on.
Yeah.
Join us over here in the recliner.
Yeah, as Ryder said.
With my old-fashioned.
That's exactly right. By the way, you know how many old fashions you can have in a year when your wife is a huge star?
Nope, not yet.
So many. Number 2 on your top 5 at 9. This is a crazy one. West Yorkshire in England. There's a town where a pizza chain's plans for expansion have been thwarted. I never say the word thwarted enough. You got an independent takeout pizza chain, right? They wanted to add a new location in West Yorkshire, Woody's Pizza, it's called, and the city council took a vote, which they have to do before they extend business licenses, and they said, no, we're not going to do it. Why? Because they said the children in our town are all too fat and we don't need more pizza. Wow.
They said what we're all thinking. That's right. They're going to open a rice cake stand.
Good
Put that
Lord.
up there, right on the corner.
The city council of West Yorkshire still got some people who remember the post-war experience. I think back when like the most important thing you could have was a belt because nobody could fill their pants. They grew up on rations and they look around and they're like, that child's got extra 2 pounds on him. What's the matter with him? Just the idea that a city council would then come out and explain why they voted against it. That's what. If that happened here, the city council would say like that might be the reason, but they'd say no, we just didn't feel like they have the. They would go to some loan discrepancy, or they would talk about a health record. Like the city health commission said this guy had a dirty can opener once. They'd come up with some nonsense.
Right.
In West Yorkshire, they're like, no, these kids are too fat. No pizza. Go on.
We can't even call our kids fat. There's anti-bullying laws now, so we're not supposed to fat shame anyone. But yeah, they're still calling it like it is over there. Feel sorry for the local stoner, though. What?
Oh, yeah.
Man.
Dude.
Our children are unthin. That's what we'd say over here. Hey, want to give a shout out to Carver.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that
Good
always
morning,
makes me think about that Harley that was knocked over suddenly, I now know, by my daughter. Damn fine motorcycle riding out there in Carver County.
Man,
it's a warm thought.
The things you learn in a day around here.
Wow.
You thought some local punk knocked your motorcycle over, and you found out they did. Just happened to be your local punk.
I like that she thinks she has immunity from it.
That's great.
Not done yet. No, I'm kidding. There's no damage done. A little mud in the handlebars.
Number 1 on your top 5 at 9 in a new poll about workplace protocols. 1 in 3 people say, hey, it's totally fine if you want to use profane language while on the job. To which I say, well, 2 out of 3 people are out of their mind. Yeah. Almost did it. Who cares if someone's... Come on, man. It's funny. I didn't cuss around my kids when they were little. I was able to turn that switch off. Most of the time in radio, we can turn the switch off. But otherwise, I use colorful language, which is my way of saying I cuss a lot. But I think I do it with good emphasis and usually for comedic effect more than anything else. The last thing I could imagine being offended by is somebody dropping an F-bomb or throwing out any sort of cuss word at work or anywhere. Honestly, if I'm on a plane and a flight attendant bumps her toe and something says, "Oh shit, I'm fine." Yeah, that's what I would say. I don't care. I don't look down on somebody if they drop a curse word out in the middle of the workday.
And furthermore, if I meet someone for the first time, I'm never really relaxed around them until they do swear. And it just happened recently. Yeah. Right, Ryder? So I'm sitting there just chatting it up with someone, and they just drop an F-bomb. And just, subliminally, I just relaxed a little bit, So, yeah, go ahead and drop it. I'm going to rate Fargo, North Dakota.
You almost have it. No, when they bring when a new person starts working here and their boss takes them around, introduces them to everybody, as soon as the new person is out of earshot, I say to whoever their supervisor is, they're cool if I swear, right? That's going to be fine. And the answer is always yes.
Yeah.
I've long held on to the my protocol with meeting new coworkers is I'm gonna drop an F-bomb and I'm gonna fart in the first 60 seconds, and then and from that point on, we're all much more comfortable.
Hey, we only have a dump button for the F word, by the way. So, ironically, there is no dump button for the dump, but
these things happen. There's your top 5 at 9.
Get the KQ Morning Show podcast wherever you listen. 92 KQRS.